Let's be honest about something. Just because you're really talented when it comes to one sport doesn't mean that you have all the other sports down magically. MMA and baseball can be very different. One MMA fighter proved it. Let's see how Conor McGregor's baseball pitch leaves the Mascot and MMA community in stitches. What happened? First thing that might have gone wrong is probably what didn't happen. I don't think that McGregor practiced his pitch at all. Or to be fair, maybe he might have practiced his pitch, but he sure didn't practice his aim enough. And if he did practice, then I don't know just how bad he would have been without practice. He was given the massive honor of throwing the first pitch at Wrigley Field. The game was the Cubs against the Minnesota Twins. The throw was much like the man himself. It had plenty of power, but it had no real control. It sailed high and wide. It was nowhere near home plate, and it nearly hit women in the crowd before bouncing into the wall. It was seriously bad. For sure not one of his best moments, and it left the Mascot and everyone around laughing at how bad it all was. And it didn't end there. The clip of the pitch went super viral, and many people have had thoughts about how it all went down. And it wasn't the first time that people were making fun of him for playing an American sport really badly. Football attempt. In 2018, he was a spectator at an NFL game when he got a chance to throw a football before the game. His efforts were pretty bad. It was almost as bad as the pitch he threw at the baseball game, so of course it went viral back then too. But to be fair, the Irishman probably didn't grow up with football or baseball for that matter. It wasn't really a major pastime where he came from, but it still doesn't stop people from enjoying the moment and having a lot of fun at Conor's expense for his recent baseball faux pas. All-time iconic pitch status. Many have said that the pitch has instantly reached iconic status, but for all the wrong reasons. It was iconic for just how bad it was. It was funny and fun to watch, but not because of how awesome he was, but rather with how completely bad the aim was in his pitch. There have been a few different times when the special star's studded first pitch of a baseball game has gone really badly. Right away, people started comparing McGregor with the pitch that 50 Cent threw in 2014. Up to now, most people agreed it was the worst first pitch that has ever been thrown. Both look very similar, so it's easy to see why they've been compared. 50 Cent's pitch also went really wide, but it has to be said that McGregor had a lot more power in his pitch than 50 Cent had. At the time, 50 Cent said that he lost his grip on the ball and that he wasn't ready to let go yet. Not sure just how many bought the excuse, but I guess it's plausible. But they aren't the only two people that have had famously bad first pitches. Other people who are in the unique club include Anthony Fossey and his outside throw, and the one that singer Carly Rae Jepsen threw. Also, NBA star John Wall and singer Mariah Carey all come to mind. Hopefully it'll give him some comfort that he isn't the only person in this club. People's reactions. Like we said, many people had many opinions and no one held back. TMZ called and said that it might be the worst pitch of all time. The podcast Pardon My Take also said that it was the all-time worst pitch, while podcaster Mark Pavelich said that Conor McGregor might just have made 50 Cent's pitch look good. It was really a worldwide effort to mock the MMA fighter, with even the Brisbane Lions social media team saying that they hope he can belt better than he pitches. Even Sports Illustrated said that he was the worst pitch ever, but there have been a few different MMA fighters weighing in on the situation too. He isn't the first fighter to have a really bad pitch. Just earlier this year, UFC heavyweight Derek Lewis also made a really bad attempt. But as Justin Gaethje tweeted, McGregor's attempt completely took the cake, again for the wrong reasons. He definitely took the record for making all other MMA fighters look bad when it comes to playing in other sports. All of that, plus the fans had a lot of funny tweets about the entire thing too. Really, it seems like the only person who hasn't weighed in on the pitch was the woman who was almost hit with the ball. I'd love to know how she felt about the whole situation and whether or not her whole life is still flashing before her eyes. Things could have been really bad. Now, it's just really funny. It's pretty obvious what people's opinions are on the pitch, but some have asked if people weren't being just a tiny bit harsh with their comments. Are we being too harsh? It could be, but as some people have pointed out, McGregor is known for being a bit of a loudmouth. He not only has a lot to say about his opponents, but he also has a lot to say about everyone else in the sport. If it was someone else who had this pitch, then chances are he would have been the first to comment about it. And he still seems to feel pretty good about the entire thing despite what people are saying, so it's not really that bad. Conor McGregor's opinion on the subject. Looks like McGregor's himself is still pretty proud of what he's achieved on the field. According to him, it was the most devastating first pitch ever on Wrigley Field. He said that the power in his pitch could rival any of the professional players on the field's power. He said it was the most powerful first pitch in history, but he did agree that his aim was just a little bit off in accuracy. He even went on on to say that if the ball hit the target that everyone would have had a problem. It isn't completely clear whether or not he's joking about one thing for sure. He did not appreciate his pitch compared with 50 Cent's. He made it clear that he didn't believe that it was at all fair to compare his super powerful pitch to the other one. Some have offered at least a few excuses on why his pitch was so wide. He only has one leg. Admittedly, McGregor isn't completely fit at the moment. He's still using a walking stick most of the time. He suffered a broken tibia thanks to his last fight against Dustin Poirier earlier this year. The fight, which he lost, also forced him to take some time off from the octagon. But he isn't fully healed yet, so that is one excuse for his bad performance. Maybe his one leg made him so off balance that he couldn't aim. I guess it's possible. The tight suit? Another explanation that some people had about the bad experience was his less than sporty outfit. McGregor looked very smart in his suit, but the suit was so tight that he didn't have a lot of room for movement. That has led some fans to give the tongue-in-cheek reasoning that his circulation might have been interrupted, leading him to fail on his aim. I mean, it's very possible he could have done better if he was wearing some sports gear better suited for playing baseball, but you can't blame a guy for prioritizing fashion over function. He wanted to pitch the ball and look really good while doing it. If he could have pulled it off, everyone would have been talking about how smart he looked while throwing an awesome pitch. Sadly, that's not how things worked out, but it isn't all bad news. Some people have started coming to his defense too. Those defending him, Conor McGregor might be a bit of a loudmouth who's been having a bit of a bad run when it comes to winning fights, but he still has a bunch of fans out there, and many came to his defense on social media. Some have said that the only way that some of his opponents could beat him was by making fun of his pitch. Others said that people didn't realize how impressive it was that he was able to throw such a powerful pitch even if it wasn't directed well. And even more impressive and noticeable was the opinion of UFC president Dana White, who had a lot to say when it was being asked about the baseball pitch. He said that he'd been asked to throw the first pitch for many games and on many different fields, but there are no way that he would ever take anyone up on the offer. He said he would never ever do it. He said it's a way harder than it looks, and he compared it to all the guys that think they can fight, but when the time comes to show it, they can't do it because it's just too hard. Basically, White said that everyone should give McGregor a break because it's harder than it looks. When will he return to MMA? Hopefully it won't be long until McGregor can really show what he can do and get back to the fighting in the octagon. Then people might not be so quick to point out his flaws. Thanks for watching.